Hello and welcome to Why Wasn't It Better? I'm your host, Patrick Darms.
And I'm your co-host, Anton Paras.
On this episode, we're talking about a film, Tower Heist, that should have been a layup. It had a huge cast, a glossy New York setting, a crowd-pleasing premise about the little guys getting revenge on a billionaire who screwed them over. Very 2011. Very Occupy Wall Street. It's a caper, it's a comedy, it's a revenge fantasy tailor-made for the post-financial crisis moment, and yet it never quite clicks. The jokes land sporadically, the tone wobbles between satire and sitcom, and for a movie about stealing from the ultra-rich, it feels oddly restrained. We're asking, why wasn't Tower Heist better? Anton, good to be back with you.
Well, it is quite a time. We're getting back into that mindset of the 2010s. Interesting time for film.
Yes, it is a decade that we have slightly neglected, but not by design. On a recent season recap, I was tallying up some of the stats for the podcast and just like how many films we covered from each decade. And this was actually the least of the more recent decades. Obviously, we haven't covered anything from the 40s yet, although we recorded under Capricorn as of this recording already. So by the time this comes out, we will have recorded an episode on a film from the 1940s. But obviously the 50s, just a handful, 60s a little bit more, 70s more, 80s we've done plenty, 90s we've done plenty, 2000s we've done a lot. But the 2010s we've neglected slightly. And for those listeners who may have expressed concern about that, I apologize. It wasn't intentional.
No, it is interesting to think about the 2010s, and I think you take both halves of the decade, completely different kinds of films being put out. It's interesting to think about growing up in the 2000s, even, being a 90s kid, but also growing up in the 2000s as well. 2010s, different beast. I started working professionally in the 2010s, so
right.
It's a different era of film for me.
Yeah. This film that we're going to cover today, it feels both like a product of an older era, and yet at the same time, it is ahead of its time in certain ways. And if that doesn't make sense, bear with me. It will, hopefully. This could have been released in the 90s. This particular concept, right, or the early 2000s, would you say?
Yeah, it's a very familiar template.
Yeah, and we often will talk about films the way, like, how sometimes you'll talk about a movie from the 90s and you're being like, well, it kind of feels like an 80s movie, because chances are when they started developing the idea for the film, they started developing it in the 80s. The idea for this particular film goes back to 2005. Not that there's anything in this film that dates it to 2005, but hold that thought, we'll get into all that. And another meaningless bit of trivia, Anton, this is officially the last film that we are recording for season 10, the last episode. We've recorded everything else. This is it, the last one. By the time we get done recording this episode, season 10 will be done.
In the books,
until we do the recap.
Okay, cool.
Does that matter to anyone listening right now? It does not.
Matters to us.
It does matter to us. All right, then. Well, without further ado, why don't you intro this for us and we can get talking about some Tower Heist.
All right, let's do it. So released on November 4th, 2011 by Imagine Entertainment, Relativity Media, and Rap Entertainment, distributed by Universal Pictures, directed by Brett Ratner, screenplay by Ted Griffin and Jeff Nathanson, starring Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy, Casey Affleck, Alan Alda, Matthew Broderick, Judd Hirsch, Téa Leoni, Michael Pena, and Gabri Sidibe. With a budget of $75 million, or $110 million adjusted for inflation, or at a box office of $153 million, so $220 million adjusted for inflation. It sits at a 67% Rotten Tomatoes score. A luxury condo manager leads a staff of workers to seek payback on the Wall Street swindler who defrauded them. With only days until the billionaire gets away with the perfect crime, the unlikely crew of amateur thieves enlist the help of petty crook Slide to steal the $20 million there sure is hidden in the penthouse. And the tagline is, ordinary guys and extraordinary robbery. Well, Pat, it's the 2010s. We got Tower Heist. Why was this movie chosen?
Did you see this in the theater?
I did not.
Okay. I did. I went to see this. I thought the trailer was promising. I was really impressed by the cast. And I came away from it completely underwhelmed. This is a perfect example of the nothing went wrong kind of failure. To call this film a failure, I think, would be wrong. It didn't really fail financially, although I would say 153 on a 75 budget, not very good. This maybe broke even, best case. It wasn't a bomb, right? It wasn't a bomb critically. People that saw it, nobody hated it. Nobody loved it. I mean, have you ever heard anybody say anything negative about this film or overwhelmingly positive?
I don't think I hear too many people mention it at all.
No. That's why I call it a nothing went wrong kind of failure. It's a kind of failure because based on who was in this and who directed it, and yes, at the time, Brett Ratner was a well-regarded director, and obviously in the years since 2011, a lot has changed regarding his reputation. But, he did all the Rush Hour films. He did an X-Men film. He did Red Dragon. He had a lot of successes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cast. I cannot emphasize the cast enough. This is what excited me the most about the movie. Ben Stiller he still is a king of comedy, but he really was then. Eddie Murphy was in a different part of his career, but he's arguably the greatest comedic talent ever to work in Hollywood. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Either him or Robin Williams, maybe. Take your pick.
It's different eras, but just very influential in different eras.
Robin Williams preceded him a little bit, but they sort of came up they became big in the 80s.
I would say, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
But regardless, this is, I think, great material for Why Wasn't It Better? This just should have been so much better than what it was. I don't know if I should have had such high expectations because if you really analyze Eddie Murphy's work in the 2000s, it's would you call it uneven?
Just a bit, maybe. It's like a plastic bag floating in the wind.
There were some successes in there, but if you discount the Shrek voice role, it's not great.
Pluto Nash.
I've never even seen that.
Start with a banger, Pluto Nash.
You know what's a really disappointing movie? Do you remember the movie he did with De Niro, Showtime?
Of course.
Stupid, right? Would you agree? Stupid.
It's pretty stupid.
We will be covering that as well at some point on Why Wasn't It Better? But the point I'm trying to make about Tower Heist is, so usually on this podcast, the films we cover fall into one of two buckets. One, it's a bold swing that just collapses, right? Two, you have a great idea that's sabotaged by some kind of fatal flaw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tower Heist is neither. It's this third rare category. It's a movie where everything is technically in place. It has all the right ingredients, but nothing clicks. It's like a fizzle. But I've always been fascinated by this movie, and it's like I didn't know coming out of the theater in 2011 that I was going to start a podcast, 10 plus years later. But I do remember coming out of that theater asking the people I was seeing it with, why wasn't that better?
It's very astute, even back then. 2011 Pat was...
I don't know if it was astute, but I appreciate you giving me credit for it. I came out of a lot of movies like that. Like, what happened here? When did you see this?
I saw this. This was definitely a Redbox film for me. I forget exactly when, but this was absolutely a Redbox film. And any listeners that don't remember Redbox, you go to your local grocery store. There's usually a big old Redbox where you can just rent a DVD. And this was absolutely one of those films.
I'm imagining trying to explain Redbox in a few years to my daughter. It's going to be like explaining like cigarette vending machines. Like, yeah, it just gave you a movie.
It's like, and it just gave you a DVD, and you had to return it in a few days. And then 2 questions: Dad, what's a DVD? And
she'll know what a DVD is. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Wait, did I tell you the story? I don't even remember what the movie was, but one of them I rented, and then Redbox went out of business, and then I went to return it, and the machine was just it was there, but it had been decommissioned.
Remember you mentioned that?
Yeah, okay, I did tell that story. But yeah, the Tower Heist would be a good candidate for Redbox. Like, you don't want to pay more than $1 or $2.
It's like, to me, this is the kind of movie where I had my doubts watching the trailer. And so if I'm inviting a girl over for a date, it's early 2010s, Anton. Like, yeah, check out something from the Redbox.
So you didn't have high expectations from the trailer?
No, I didn't.
Interesting.
I was already pretty jaded by
Murphy, not Stiller, right?
Not Stiller, but by Murphy, and just this high level concept of a heist film in 2011.
It has heist in the title. I don't even know if I'd call this a heist film. It is technically, but we'll get into it.
But who am I to be able to be jaded, like being jaded in the early 2010s? I didn't think much of Now You See Me, and that ended up making a ton of money.
before we get to the production history of this, we have a very good candidate for the 6 degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life here. Alan Alda.
Oh, the very wonderful Alan Alda.
Yes. He is connected to the 6 degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life here through this film. He starred in Manhattan Murder Mystery with Diane Keaton, who, of course, dated Warren Beatty. I've come to realize a lot of the 6 degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life stuff that we're now doing on every episode, it's really coming down to like who's connected to Madonna or Diane Keaton.
You could make it a bit of a extra challenge. Try to not have Diane Keaton or
I have tried
Madonna.
to do that already.
It's pretty tough.
It can be. Well, she was just in so much stuff with a lot of different performers. Think about the number of movies she was in. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But eventually, I promise, we'll get to something that isn't Diane. No, we've done stuff that didn't involve Diane Keaton. I know that's a Woody Allen movie, but have you ever seen Manhattan Murder Mystery?
Of course.
It's a really good movie. I really like it. Yeah. I would say that's maybe my favorite Woody Allen movie.
Okay.
Maybe.
Interesting.
I really like that one.
Are you a big Alan Alda guy?
Yeah, I do like Alan Alda. We'll talk about him. I think he's great in this film. This is the kind of role that's perfect for him. The smug, rich guy.
Yeah. I get very nostalgic seeing stuff with him in it. Because I have both my folks who were big fans of a lot of his stuff, and then my wife is a big MASH fan. So
I was going to say my dad is a huge fan of Alan Alda's because of MASH, but he's just been on so many other TV roles, where he's what's the character he plays on The West Wing, the Republican candidate. He's so good in that role, even though that's like that's the last season of The West Wing. It's not the best season, but he's great in it. And then he always pops up on like different TV shows that I used to watch, because listeners know I don't watch TV anymore, but this is a great role for him here. But why don't you start reading the production history, and I'm going to go help my wife locate her car keys.
Okay. I will do it.
Thank you. Hold down the fort for me.
Sure. Tower Heist began development as early as 2005, based on an idea by Eddie Murphy that would star him and an all-black cast of comedians as a heist group who robbed Trump International Hotel and Tower. The cast would have included Chris Tucker, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Tracy Morgan, and Martin Lawrence. The script evolved into an Ocean's 11-style caper, going through multiple rewrites, and eventually Murphy lost interest. Now, Brett Ratner, who had been attached to the project early on, continued to develop the idea, and Murphy later rejoined after learning that Ben Stiller was interested. Ratner passed on directing Horrible Bosses in order to do this, and feeling that the original concept was too close to Ocean's 11, Ratner attempted to recruit Rush Hour screenwriter Nathanson to perform additional work on the Tower Heist script, but at that time, Nathanson was unavailable. So Ratner instead hired Griffin, a writer on the Ocean's 11 remake. Noah Baumbach did rewrite specifically for Ben Stiller's character, and Robert Redford turned down the role of Arthur Shaw, and the part went to Alan Alda. Filming took place over 70 days on location in Manhattan, Queens, and on the Brooklyn sound stages in New York City. Several buildings provided by Donald Trump were used to represent the eponymous tower. The Thanksgiving Day Parade was completely recreated with footage from the 2009 parade, along with recreated scenes of the parade with the actors involved. The studio wanted to eliminate it entirely, but Ratner fought it and won because it was vital to the plot of the film. Before choosing a composer for the film, director Brett Ratner listened to demo tapes from various different composers, including Christopher Beck, with whom he had never worked before, since he primarily had worked with Lalo Schifrin, Danny Elfman, and John Powell previously. After listening to his demo, which eventually became the score's main theme, Ratner hired him because Beck nailed the sounds that he had been looking for. Ratner cut some scenes which he felt didn't fit or did not match the PG-13 rating the filmmakers were targeting. Universal wanted a different ending that featured a reunion of Stiller and Murphy's characters. Murphy refused to return unless he was paid an extra $500,000 on top of his $7.5 million salary. The studio declined and the scenes were not shot. This is something a little bit ahead of its time. Prior to release, the film was involved on a controversy over plans by Universal Pictures to release it for home viewing on video demand to 500,000 Comcast customers. Only 3 weeks after its cinematic debut, at the rental cost of $59.99 or $60. The move was announced as a test case to be conducted only in Atlanta and Portland, All the major theater chains immediately threatened not to show the film, forcing Universal to abandon the idea. Pat, as you said, a little ahead of its time. All right, with that, I'm going to go let the dogs out.
I told you this film was ahead of its time, right?
It was. It really was.
I don't know if that $59.99 is true. That's what Wikipedia said. Like, I just can't imagine anyone paying that.
That can't be right. Yeah, it's more than a movie ticket.
It's the price of like 2 Blu-rays.
If that was the full price, I had to think about it. I'm like, that's as much as like a video
That's
game
to rent
at the time.
the film.
Yeah,
Because
don't
like,
get to
you
keep
can
it.
buy a digital copy of a film now for what, $30? A new film. Now, obviously, the older the film, you can buy them. If it's old enough, it's like, what is it, $7 or $8, I think, to own a digital copy usually.
Yeah, but like, there's a lot of Amazon rentals is very popular, for example.
Right. That's crazy. I don't remember hearing anything about that at the time. I don't think that made national headlines because that would have piqued my interest.
That would fail miserably.
It's still funny that the theaters boycotted it, but this film's ahead of its time for that reason and other reasons, which we'll talk about. But first, as always, we want to thank everyone for listening, for sharing our content. If you're liking the podcast, please follow, please subscribe. We encourage you to leave comments on whatever platform you're getting your pods from, whether you're watching or listening. We're on Instagram, we're on X, and best of all, Letterboxd. That's the best way to follow us. If you really like what we're doing and you want to throw a few bucks our way, we do have a Patreon. You can support the show there directly and get access to episodes a full week early and ad-free. Links to everything are in the description. Anton, why wasn't Tower Heist better? I want to start with the tone of this film.
Okay.
We were sort of getting into this in the intro to this episode. If I was to describe this to anyone, I would do it in one of two ways. I would either call it's a Netflix movie before there were Netflix movies, or I'd call it the perfect airplane movie. I have watched this movie on a flight. I would watch this movie again on a flight. I'm not necessarily calling that a compliment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. This to me is a filler film. Nothing fancy. It's not even quite good. It's not quite great, but it's not the worst thing you've ever had. But it's
I would say there is not a single thing in this film I find bad.
Yeah, it's just filler is what I would say.
It's not a bad way to spend 100 minutes of your time. It's funny, but forgettable. Delightfully mediocre. Completely inoffensive. And yet it has to be disappointing just based on the star power, right? You look at this cast. We'll talk about the cast in the next reason, but a lot of talent on screen.
A lot of talent. Big names. I mean, it's quite a great film for the podcast, but
it's fine. This movie's fine.
Yeah, but not. I feel like if you would have told me Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy leading a film, like, okay, sign me up. It's not something like a Hollywood experiment where either one of the leads is unknown or it's pitting like a newer lead with like a legend in the industry. Like I'm thinking like The Intern with De Niro and what's their face?
Anne Hathaway.
Right. But I feel like this kind of film, it's just it's
fine.
Ooh, it's fine.
Do you think it's funny?
Yeah, it's funny at times, yeah.
How many times did you laugh out loud?
Handful.
Can you tell me about them?
I would say probably the scene from the trailer where he's talking about Ben Stiller being like the asthma kid. That was pretty funny.
The scene where Eddie Murphy locks Judd Hirsch in the closet, I thought was pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Where he's pretending to be the bank representative.
Yep, and then he just what is he puts the chair in and just locks him in.
Yeah, and turns on the boombox.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe like 2.
And they both involve Eddie Murphy. And I'm not saying that this movie had to be the funniest thing ever, but my problem with the tone of this is that it never really picks an audience. Let me elaborate on that and why I think this is ahead of its time. Sort of. Mm-hmm. It's family friendly, but you wouldn't call this a kid's movie.
Right.
There's no broad physical comedy. There's no exaggerated villain. There's nothing that a 10-year-old is going to latch onto, right? Like, I'm guessing a 10-year-old would probably find this movie boring.
A 10-year-old wouldn't really understand the concept of what Alan Alda's character did.
Right. It's not inappropriate for kids, But it's
Right.
not.
It's
This
just
isn't a movie that appeals to kids. But at the same time, it gets caught in this halfway house because it's not this edgy, sharp, cynical enough comedy heist thriller that adults who might actually enjoy a movie about screwing over a billionaire, right? It keeps pulling its punches.
Yeah.
I think this would have worked way better as an R-rated comedy.
I agree with you. There's a lot of concepts where, or at least very similar concepts, getting back at like the man or getting back at your boss. Horrible Bosses is another ensemble film.
A way better
For
example of
example.
that.
Yeah.
That embraced
that
its
was also-
R rating.
But this played it a bit safe.
Completely safe. It never commits to being a raunchy adult caper like Horrible Bosses, but it's not this goofy crowd pleaser either. And they don't do anything particularly interesting with the post 2008 stuff.
I mean, considering the financial crisis and the world just getting out of now, we know it was called the Great Recession. I feel like it maybe plays a little bit of that fantasy of getting back at Wall Street, but I don't know.
The stakes are low because the anger, which should have been the engine of the movie, the anger that these characters should feel for Alan Alda, it's very muted.
Very.
It's
like
just not there.
When Ben Stiller's character goes in and just like trashes his car a little bit and then they leave. I remember watching that scene and thinking to myself, like, this just feels weirdly written. I feel like there'd be a bit more emotion if this really happened in real life.
Right. I just felt bad for the car at that point. Now, if it were rated R, it would have played out differently. Because, you know, this is PG-13. But I think if you remove a handful of scenes, maybe not even scenes, maybe some conversation. Like there's that one conversation they have about the gauntlet of lesbians.
Yeah.
If you take that out, this could have been PG. This could be a Disney Channel movie. If you take out the gun, you know, Eddie Murphy's character has a gun at one point. Now, I don't think did they ever fire it?
No, but there were like 3 characters had pulled out a gun or something.
Was it the same gun? They keep getting the same gun? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But I just wish they took more of a swing on this. And the reason why I think this movie is ahead of its time is you were right earlier what you were saying, which they had done this kind of movie plenty of times before. But my secret theory about this movie is that the Netflix people saw this in 2011 and they were like, that is what we want all of our original movies to be like, exactly this. Because if you fast forward 10 years and this comes out in 2021, this is the prototype for what would just become like another Netflix movie. If this came out today, it would be a Netflix movie, right? I don't think this would get a theater release. I think this would be direct to streaming. It feels like it was made to play on airplanes, hotel room TVs, to show up on a streaming service for 3 weeks. This has very number 3 in the United States streaming energy to me.
I agree with you. I think that there are a few things that Netflix definitely looked at to try to create success or like try to create like templatized scalable success. One of those categories I like to call literally Adam Sandler in the 90s because they signed the huge deal with Adam Sandler and just kept making more Adam Sandler films.
And they're all boring.
They're all boring, but they have Adam Sandler, and that's huge, I guess. But I totally agree. This is a really good example of the mediocre slop that we typically expect from Netflix.
You have Ben Stiller. Most of all, you have Eddie Murphy. Take some kind of creative risk. Take a swing, and they don't do it.
Yeah, there's a film in my head. I'm trying to remember. It has Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and it's the action. I'm pretty sure The Rock's in it too. And it's an
Red Notice.
Maybe it was Red Notice. And
same exact thing.
It was just so like huge names. Netflix, big Netflix release, falls flat. Doesn't really say anything about anything.
$200 million budget.
Very safe jokes and just very poor effects. It's just crazy.
You can almost feel the studio notes all over this, right? Keep it clean, keep it broad, don't alienate anyone. We want this to be a 4-quadrant movie. You know, you were saying in the production history how Brett Ratner cut out scenes that didn't fit the PG-13 rating.
And it's just interesting because, you know, PG-13 can still be very, very entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
I think PG-13 comedies were some of the best comedies of the 2000s.
Yeah.
I specifically also think about like the Rush Hour films as really good examples of that.
Well, that's the thing with Ratner is like I expected more from this.
Yeah. So
But
it's
the Rush Hour films, can I interject for 1 second?
Yeah.
They have something that this doesn't, which is really clever physical comedy. This has none of that.
Because Matthew Broderick is not very coordinated. I wouldn't expect Casey Affleck to be able to do any physical comedy. And
Stiller can. Murphy can. They don't do it in this film.
Stiller can, but they don't demand it.
I'll give you a really out of left field example of what I wanted more from this movie. You've seen That's My Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible movie. Deplorable in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But took creative swings. I'm not saying I wanted this movie to delve into the subject matter that film did,
Mm-hmm.
but say what you want about that film or something like Grandma's Boy, way more memorable than this. What's memorable about Tower Heist? Like, what's the most memorable part of this film to you? I have one candidate for you, maybe. I think it's my favorite part of the film is when Eddie Murphy...
Leone.
She's fine.
Yeah.
They don't do much with her, though.
Yeah.
But when Ben Stiller or when Eddie Murphy forces the rest of the characters to commit shoplifting to, like, prove their worth as thieves, I thought that was at least somewhat funny.
Entertaining, for sure.
Entertaining.
Yeah, but even the twist at the end, it's all right.
Well, we know they wanted to film a different ending, and Eddie Murphy asked for more money, and they didn't want to pay him, so they didn't. Because you're right, it just kind of ends.
And then, like, the scene, like, you get, like, the unboxing of everyone's getting mailed car parts. It's just, I don't know how they were able to, like, did they weigh every individual car part, and they're like, you're going to get this cut? Because...
Sorry, how did they get the car out of the pool without anyone noticing?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have rusted? I don't know.
The car?
The gold? I
was going to say, I mean, I don't... Does gold rust like that? I don't think it does.
I don't know. This may be the most perfectly mediocre film we've ever covered.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of films that fit this wholesome mediocre category. A few of them came in, like, the late 2010s. Like, I get reminded of, like, the aesthetic of, like, Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. Just a feel-good movie. It's really not meant to offend anyone. It's really just meant to have some big names and just have them follow through, and everything's okay in the end, which basically happened in this film.
It's funny how this started off as like an Ocean's 11 style caper, and then Ratner thought it was too similar to that, because this to me feels like a discount version of Ocean's 11. Like, this was a script submitted for an Ocean's sequel, and it was deemed like not good enough.
Yeah, this doesn't have any edge, whereas Ocean's 11 did have edge.
Yeah, it did.
And
it was quirky. It was weird. They did weird stuff in it. Weird world building with all like the lingo and whatever.
The main characters weren't good guys, quote unquote good guys.
No.
Whereas this film immediately establishes our main character is like by the book, a rule follower, and knows everyone, and is really good at setting exposition for all the characters.
Yeah, he's the manager of the Tower, the most generic name for a building ever. Very fitting for a very generic film like this one.
I think it makes it... The film is absolutely easy to digest for any adult, which I think that's studio fingerprints, of course. It's, hey, make it clear who the good guys are and who the bad guy is, and make it so people want to root for the good guys and make them good.
The Robin Hood story. The classic Robin Hood story.
Yeah.
Could you blame this on Brett Ratner, I guess?
I guess you could, in the sense that he probably compromised a lot and just allowed that compromise to happen.
Did you ever see After the Sunset?
No, I haven't.
It's not great, but it's a heist film that he directed with Pierce Brosnan, Woody Harrelson, Selma Hayek. I don't really know if I'd recommend it, but it was like he had experience doing the heist stuff, caper stuff. Or better question, is this on brand for him?
Okay.
Because think about X-Men The Last Stand. Bad.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Very like middle of the road, didn't want to take a lot of risks, right? Remember the Dark Phoenix thing? They're like, well, we can't get too far into that. Mm-hmm. Remember we covered that? We're like, they could have done a much deeper, darker movie on that. And they're like, nah, they did a little bit with it.
Safe.
Very safe. Similar. Did you ever see Red Dragon?
Yeah, of course.
I don't think it's a bad movie, but it kind of suffers from the similar issue of like it's a very like by the numbers, middle of the road prequel to Silence of the Lambs with some good performances in it, but it's a very like by the numbers movie.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going with that logic, I mean, look, as much as I'm a huge fan of Rush Hour, I also know that film is one, Hollywood saying, or at least the studio saying, how do we localize Jackie Chan for America? And then Ratner pairing up with Jackie Chan, saying, "Let's take all of your best stunts and put them in this film." So basically, more of a synthesized Jackie Chan than anything.
Yeah, and I want to give that movie's success credit to primarily the star power of Jackie Chan and I think Chris Tucker.
Yeah,
They were
absolutely.
great together, their chemistry, which I was hoping to see that same kind of chemistry with the two lead actors in this, and you don't really get it.
No.
But don't worry. If any of the listeners are still interested in what Brett Ratner is doing, he just directed Melania, the documentary that came out earlier this year.
That's a very brave choice for him.
Yes. I assume that was all the work that he could get. On that note, the cinematographer on this film is Dante Spinotti.
Mm-hmm.
He is a veteran cinematographer, a frequent collaborator of Michael Mann's.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about him when we covered The Insider. He shot The Last of the Mohicans, Heat, Manhunter, Red Dragon, coincidentally enough. Oh, that's kind of cool. He shot Manhunter and Red Dragon. Basically the same movie done by two different
I was
directors.
gonna say, that is really interesting.
Yeah. He's a really, really great cinematographer in my opinion, though. Like, you know, just the stuff I mentioned. He shot LA Confidential, just an amazing looking movie. He did X-Men The Last Stand with Ratner. He's worked with Ratner a lot. Ant-Man and the Wasp, randomly. Just an impressive body of work, but I want to shout him out. He's 82 years old. He's still working in Hollywood. He shot Melania with Brett Ratner.
Seems to stand by his homeboy.
I suppose. I was trying to figure out, like, did he get canceled or something as a cinematographer? Like, why would...
No, he just stands by his...
Maybe he just wanted to work. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. He probably just was offered the job and he was like, cool, I'll do it.
Yeah, Brett was like, yo, you want to do this? We'll make some money. He's like, all right, whatever.
The Melania thing is so funny. It's just...
I've never heard... Everything I've heard about that film is that it's pretty terrible. So,
did you try to watch it?
No.
What is it on? What streaming service?
I don't know what streaming service it's on. I do remember seeing it like in the marquee. So this happened.
It happened. Oh, no, wait, it was a theater release.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Like I said, I saw it on the marquee at the movie theater.
I do remember seeing a trailer for it. Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, okay.
And I was like, okay.
Look, Dante, we don't hold anything against you. Brett Ratner, we might.
Yeah,
remember Brett Ratner, kind of inadvertently responsible for Sean Connery retiring.
Yeah. We'll let our listeners go do their own Brett Ratner research just to read about him.
Enough about Ratner. Okay, this is a heist movie, Anton. Do you like The Heist?
No, because it doesn't actually work.
It doesn't. Doesn't make sense.
They're all very incompetent, and Slide is I don't know. I don't know why his character is written the way it is, just because it doesn't help in the end.
It doesn't. I will say, once the actual heist begins, I think it's watchable.
Yeah, because it has those beats that you would expect, like following the plan. There's a bit of a hurdle. Got to get through that hurdle a little bit. But then, like, once you're close to the finish line, it's like some sort of plot twist occurs. We get basically two of those, right?
Yeah. I think the score does a lot of good work here. If I was here when you were reading the production history and I wasn't helping my wife find her car keys, I would have told you at the moment. I actually think the score to this film is pretty underrated. I was listening to it the past couple days on Spotify. I quite enjoy it. It's jazzy in all the right ways. I totally get the kind of 1970s caper vibe that Ratner wanted out of the composer. I enjoyed it. I think it's a pretty good score.
Could you have seen this film working if instead of Ben Stiller and his crew, it was the Rat Pack?
Frank Sinatra and those guys?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Ocean's 11.
Isn't Brett Ratner's production company called like Rat Pack Entertainment?
Look, there's no doubt that this film was inspired by Ocean's 11. Yeah.
And then, it's just funny that he decided, it's too similar to Ocean's 11. We have to change the script.
It's like, when did you figure that out? It's still very similar.
It is like a store brand Ocean's 11, isn't it? It really is.
It really is.
Man, the first, not the original, the Ocean's 11 remake, the one that people actually remember, is such a perfect movie.
It's one of my favorites.
It's so good.
To me, it's the film that truly makes Las Vegas romantic. Because most films make Las Vegas very cheesy or gross.
Like Diamonds Are Forever?
Like Casino.
Deliberately so with Casino.
Yeah, very deliberate. But yeah, it's Ocean's 11 does an amazing job making Las Vegas just a very romantic place.
It felt glamorous.
Yeah.
This isn't even a good New York movie.
It really isn't. I mean, you do get some scenes where you know that the train is above and it has all the railways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Do we know what part of the city the tower is in?
Oh yeah, Columbus Circle. It's supposed to be Trump Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they very, and then the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade goes right by. I mean, it's very clearly supposed to be Columbus.
So is
They show Columbus Circle prominently in this film.
So is that off Fifth Ave?
No, it's off of 8th Broadway.
8th and
Broadway is the one that cuts
Okay.
through like this. That's Broadway that you're
like
saying.
Yeah.
But it's right at like 59. It's right at like the edge, the corner of Central Park.
Yep.
On the west side. Incredible restaurants around there.
I was gonna say I know where that's at.
Bar Ballood.
Not too far away from like Jacob's Pickle.
Check out Bar Ballood if you're ever in that area. It's one of Daniel Ballood's restaurants. It's like his it's the less expensive of. He has a few restaurants in the city. The real famous one he has is Danielle, which has like 2 Michelin stars and it's out of my price range. But he has like a regular price restaurant called Bar Ballood and it's excellent.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll remember that and we'll definitely check it out. I know if you go north along Central Park on that side of the city, eventually you hit the Guggenheim.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Met is on the other side of Central Park, the east side.
Yep.
It's one of the most sought after places to live in the world, my friend. If I won the Mega Millions, I would Central Park West. You could do a lot worse.
Yeah. I've been to New York enough times that I typically know parts of the city based on like points of interest. So
It's a beautiful part of the city, no doubt about that.
yeah, absolutely.
I can tell you one thing, I wouldn't want to be there on Thanksgiving. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that parade.
Do a lot of tourists come out for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
they
big
must.
thing. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's like New Year's in Times Square. It's like a lot of New Yorkers don't want to be near that.
Right. It's more like people from out of town want to go. New Year's feels like a holiday that tourists would come into town for, but Thanksgiving, I don't know.
Well,
Maybe domestic tourists.
oh, yeah. I mean, look, when I say the Thanksgiving Day parade is a big tourist thing, I assume it is. Just based on my knowledge of New York, have lived in Jersey City for so many years, I would imagine a lot of native New Yorkers do not want to be anywhere near that on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
But what do I know? I don't live there anymore. It's a distant memory for me now, Anton. Now I'm a Southern gentleman.
Thinking fondly of New York times.
I certainly think fondly of my days living up there, but I wouldn't move back unless I won the Mega Millions. The most unbelievable part of the film. The FBI agent not immediately knowing about the courthouse date on Thanksgiving being bullshit. How does she fall for that? When they're like, I remember Alan Alda's lawyer is just like, oh yeah, like the judge wants to avoid a circus. Like no courthouse would be open on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's fair.
Any government building, Thanksgiving,
no one's working.
No one's working. Not even going to be a janitor there. Because remember the security guard answers the door. He's like, oh, we're closed. You're not even going to get I think it's just locked. I don't even think you're going to get someone answering the door.
Yeah, that one's pretty quickly stamped out by logic.
What was Alan Alda's character's name? Arthur Shaw. There you go. All right. Well, you want to talk about the cast then? That's our next reason.
Arthur Shaw. Wasn't Shaw the last name of one of the bad guys in the Rush Hour films?
Maybe. Surely you're not thinking of Juntao.
No.
Juntao? Yeah, you go get Juntao. Yeah, go get him.
Oh, Juntao.
Oh, Juntao. Are the memes about Juntao? It mistakenly identifies that blonde-haired Asian guy as Juntao. He's not Juntao. Tom Wilkinson is Juntao.
That's right. That's a twist.
Oh, love Tom Wilkinson. Gone too soon. All right, you want to talk about the cast?
All right, let's talk about this cast.
It's a great cast on paper.
All right, should we start with the leads?
Yeah, but let me give you a prompt first. This is one of my problems with this movie.
Prompt it.
It doesn't belong to anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's whose film is this? Which actor defines the film?
I think by default you would say Ben Stiller because he's the lead.
But I would never describe it as a Ben Stiller film.
No. It's certainly not an Eddie Murphy movie either.
It's not a Casey Affleck film.
No, it's not. But I think the lack of this being an Eddie Murphy movie is the biggest sin because they clearly cast him as a comeback play, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the movie never hands him the keys. He gets to cook in a few scenes, and it's funny. He's pretty restrained, though. Almost sidelined.
Yeah, it's Do you think that, just spitballing here, but do you think any of that really is very on purpose? Like, we don't want Eddie Murphy to take over the film with his personality because we don't want this to be a Eddie Murphy film.
Well, he is one of the producers on this film. I think if he had wanted to take over the film, he could have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he wanted to. And we've talked about him before on the podcast. Like, at this point in his career, I think he was just motivated by different things. He wasn't interested in doing the stuff that he did in the 80s. Now, he got a lot of praise for this. Actually, hold that thought. You want to talk about Stiller first? There's so many things I want to say about Murphy.
We can talk about Stiller, but like I told you, I'll just quickly say this. We talked about this on the phone. Up until this point, everyone thought that Eddie Murphy was very washed up.
I think you're kind of right. Unfortunately, I hate saying that because I really love him.
But let's go back. We'll put a pin in that. Let's go to Mr. Ben Stiller.
Easy to forget now how dominant he was in the 2000s. He kind of owned the 2000s.
I can't forget, my friend.
Oh, we don't.
Zoolander.
We don't.
Zoolander lives in my head.
Let me rattle this off for you. Because he wasn't just defined by like one film or one franchise, right? It was volume, it was consistency, it was cultural saturation with him for more than a decade. He wasn't just a movie star, like he was one of the faces of comedy. This is what he did from 1998 until 2010. I'll rattle it off for you. He was everywhere. There's Something About Mary, Meet the Parents, The Royal Tenenbaums, Zoolander, Dodgeball, Along Came Polly, Starsky and Hutch, Meet the Fockers, Madagascar, voice role, Tropic Thunder, which he also directed, Night at the Museum. Amazing. It's an amazing body of work.
That's huge.
Yeah. Him, Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell, Jim Carrey. They were the biggest names in comedy. The Judd Apatow thing that was more of an ensemble thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to talk actors? I mean, Stiller, he was a king in the 2000s.
Absolute king. Just again takes up so much real estate for what was funny in the 2000s. And like you said, a face of comedy, like truly defining comedy in the 2000s.
We talked about this movie not being able to pick a lane. Night at the Museum made me think of something. That commits to the family-friendly thing and does it much more successfully than what I think this film is trying to do, which is like walk the line. It doesn't want to be too family-friendly, but it wants to be kind of edgy. It commits to neither. Night at the Museum was like very clearly, this is for families, and it's funny.
Yeah. Quick aside, there is a 2000 stinker that Ben Stiller was in where he co-starred with Jack Black. I think a lot of people forgot about this movie. It was that bad. Do you remember the film Envy?
No, I don't.
It's Jack Black's character invents a mist that's able to just make dog poo disappear.
Definitely haven't seen that. And based on what you're telling me, I think I'm glad I haven't. There's a reason why I didn't include that on the list of stuff when I was talking about Stiller.
It's insane how bad this movie is.
Well, everybody has their misses.
Yeah, I just think it's funny.
That is funny. It sounds
really
horrifying.
Bad. Yeah, well, it's one of those films where people forget about, like, that actually got made kind of thing. Like, there was a film in the 90s with, I think I told you about this because it was on Tubi. It was, it had Chris Farley in it, and who was it?
Matthew Perry?
Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
And
I know,
they're like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Going west.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was a movie?
This was a movie. They made that. Oh, there were so many. People tend to remember the good Saturday Night Live spin-off movies. There are so many bad ones.
Oh, like that's for the most part. I think you can imagine SNL movies are going to be bad.
Yeah, pretty much. Most of them are.
Yeah,
but
because most of them are.
But you would agree, like, I mean, Stiller, that is about as an impressive run of films as it gets in like a 10 to 12 year span.
Yeah, Stiller's great.
I still love Stiller, Knicks fan.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how his career's changed. Like, he's really paving the way for what's, propping up future talent or propping up the future of Hollywood, basically.
Robert Downey Jr. said something about him that made me view him in a completely different light. He said he's the modern day Charlie Chaplin.
Huge.
Because of the work that he does behind the camera as well. I think it's a really astute observation from Downey. I know what he means. I know what he's saying.
Yeah, it's Ben Stiller is a huge part of the behind the scenes that coordinates what we get to enjoy nowadays. And like he really does have his hands in a lot of pots.
He doesn't get any credit as a director either. I've never heard anyone talk about his directing, even though he's done some great stuff behind the camera.
I was gonna say, I think, I mean, he's produced a ton.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Like he doesn't get any credit for that side of it, though.
But what was it? There is that show that's been really, really popular of his, the sci-fi series with. Man, I'm trying to think of it.
Just Google it. Yeah. Don't make it too hard on the listeners. Just Google it.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I also can't think of the name because I've never seen it.
I was gonna say I've never seen it,
but it's really well regarded.
Yeah.
It's not Transcendence, right? That's a terrible Johnny Depp movie.
Transcendence with Johnny Depp.
Remember that movie?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I can't believe you're mentioning it because
God awful.
I haven't thought of that in a long time. You know what? This actually says a lot about Ben Stiller. He's done so much stuff that you have to go through so many Wikipedia pages for what he's directed, what he's produced, what he's written, what he's acted in. Like Severance. He's been in so much, or he's done so much. This is crazy.
Do you know he was on Miami Vice?
That's funny. That's cool.
The show, not the movie.
Right. It's funny. Like, am I surprised to see that he gets like a producing credit on Workaholics? No.
No, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised by it.
Like that's crazy. Like
Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. Like I think he really understands talent. He really understands what's funny. He really understands what's going to do well. And I'm going to put myself behind it.
Yeah.
And he just works.
Definitely. I love the guy. I'm a huge fan of his work. I think he's fine in this movie. He's always good as a lead. I think he's a good lead actor.
Yeah. I think, what was it? He has this really interesting quality that he could play the straight man, but he can also play like the not straight man.
Right.
Here, he was absolutely the straight man.
Yeah. He's the straight man here, and then equally well, he can be either Zoolander or what I consider his finest performance, White Goodman, Dodgeball.
Or whatever the character's name, who's basically the same character in Heavyweights.
Yeah, was it Tony? Tony something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same character.
Same character, basically, yeah. In this film, Tower Heist, he's fine. He's earnest, even when he decides to commit larceny. Like, he's easy to root for.
Yeah, he's the same character that he plays in the Neighborhood Watch film with Vince Vaughn. Just
yes, the same. Yes,
just he knows everyone. He's very well-meaning. He wants to do good, and cookie cutter, easy to root for.
Plot question for you about his character. How was he able to change the Tower employees' pension plans without notifying them? Isn't that illegal?
Oh, that's good.
Remember, they're all mad. They're like, we never asked you to do that. It's like, didn't he tell you he was changing it? Isn't an employer required by law to notify you if they are changing any kind of like management thing regarding your retirement fund?
Yeah, and especially then you'd have it all in like paper.
Right.
All I can say is you probably, I don't think your average viewer just allows themselves to think that far.
You saying I'm not your average viewer?
I'm saying you're very observational.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now he's a philosophizer.
But then I will also say that one can also assume that Bernie Madoff's just going to do whatever with the pensions. So
right. But he only did it because Stiller's character asked him to. What's his name? Josh Kovacs.
Yeah, pretty bad move on his part.
Anyway, whatever. Okay, back to Eddie Murphy.
All right, Mr. Eddie Murphy.
He was still a force in 2011. He'll always be a force, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was in a different part of his career. He was fully in that family-friendly era, no longer a box office draw. I think you were right to call him washed. If you take away the Shrek voice roles from the 2000s, it's pretty bleak.
Anything live action from 2000 on, it's not looking good.
Are you looking at it now?
Yeah, because once you hit 2000, because 1999 to me is the last great Eddie Murphy film.
Bowfinger?
Yeah.
I like Bowfinger.
I'm just kidding. I mean, it's not like the best Eddie Murphy film.
No, it's not the best, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, especially preceding everything after it. You know, you got Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. Now Shrek, that's not live action, so we can count it out. There's Dr. Dolittle 2, that's pretty terrible. There's Showtime.
Very, very disappointing.
The Adventures of Pluto Nash, historically bad.
Lost $100 million.
I Spy, not good.
Bad.
Daddy Daycare.
Bad.
I think not good, but also
It's bad. It's a bad movie.
It did good enough for the box office. Haunted Mansion, bad.
Entertaining, but bad.
Yeah. Shrek 2, can't count it. Like, that's not fair. It's one of the best animated films of all time.
Right.
But
I mean, it's a great vocal performance from him, no doubt about it.
Yeah. But then it's Dreamgirls, which I don't think is like an all-time great movie, but
No.
But I remember this is when a lot of people were even saying, "Oh, Eddie Murphy's back."
Eddie Murphy's trying to get an Oscar. He got the nomination for it. A lot of people thought he was going to win. He didn't. He's very good in the movie.
And then he completely switched things up on us with Norbit in 2007.
2007 is when he really slows down.
Yeah. And then, of course, Shrek the Third, Meet Dave. Imagine that.
Never seen it.
Gonna go ahead and skip this documentary, and then he's in Shrek Forever After, which is one of the less enjoyable Shrek films, and then of course he's in Tower Heist. So look, a majority of what I just rattled off is pretty bad.
But you see the point that I was making earlier when you were like, why didn't he just take over this movie? He was one of the producers on it. I think he could have, just based on the filmography we're going through. I don't think he was interested in doing that anymore. He was in this middle age of his stardom. You know what I mean?
It's interesting because even throughout this era of film, even interviews today that he does, like when he does take interviews today, he speaks very fondly of his time, or if he speaks very proudly of the films he put out. Like he proudly, defiantly says, like, I really loved making Norbit. I think that's a funny film. So maybe to him, what he was able to achieve, he's still very proud of his body of work. And to him, that's good. Sure.
I mean, I like how he's doing things right now. He's not overexposing himself. He rarely does interviews or podcasts. He has mystique, which is what I still respect about him. You know, very private guy. I don't think he's on social media.
He lets other people do all the talking for him, and he's been in Hollywood for so long that he has built this mystique, and people's perception of who he is, really for the better, is just him during his prime. Like a lot of people, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know Eddie Murphy," and then they think of Axel Foley,
right?
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, there's always been this dichotomy with like what people wanted him to be and then like what he was. Like a lot of people, I think you and I are maybe in this category, are like lamenting the fact that he just doesn't do R-rated comedy anymore, and that's clearly just a decision on his part. He just moved on. He was in a different part of his career. Expecting him to be the Eddie Murphy of old is unrealistic. Now, you do see flashes of the old Eddie Murphy in this performance.
Yeah, you do see some flashes.
But it's almost like a tease. This film uses him very cautiously.
Eddie Murphy is always going to be one of the great impersonators of all time. And whenever there's a scene where that requires him to like pull that hat out of the bag or pull that trick out of the hat, he does it. And I think those are the more entertaining parts of the film for sure.
When he's impersonating the bank representative, it's hilarious. It's maybe not hilarious. It's very funny.
It's very funny.
It just doesn't last long.
But it's also why like some of his all-time great films, like it leans on those strengths, thinking like, you know, Coming to America.
Right, where he's playing a bunch of different characters at certain points.
And
he has one of the most interesting filmographies, I think, of any actor we've talked about on this podcast. Like you could do an entire podcast just on Eddie Murphy.
And, you know, it's no fault. Like, we don't hold it against him that he wants to do some projects that are continuations of his previous successful films, of course, like Coming to America.
I really liked the new Beverly Hills Cop movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was really fun.
That's a breath of fresh air to know that, you know, a revival sequel does really well. So, but I don't think that this is the Eddie Murphy that people would typically say, ooh, that's an Eddie Murphy film. And so
nobody remembers this movie.
Yeah.
It's milquetoast. It really is. Yeah. Would you say it's kind of a wasted role for him? Even though I do like him in this movie.
I hate to say like wasted role just because like you and I both said, it's fine to have a filler film. Everyone likes it. Everyone can enjoy a filler film. And I think in that same sense, it's fine for great actors to have filler movies. They do it for the paycheck. They're okay like not necessarily dominating the whole film. Eddie Murphy didn't want to go full Super Saiyan for this. That's fine.
It's fine. He got a nice payday for it. You know, if you look at his filmography, after this. So basically, what you would call the past 15 years hasn't been in a lot. A lot of stuff I'm not even that familiar with.
He has not been in a lot. I mean, the biggest thing I remember watching was Dolomite, the Netflix film.
He's great in that.
Yeah, and that's more like the Eddie Murphy I remember.
Yes, that's a great Eddie Murphy performance. But you just looking at his stuff, 2012, he's in a movie called 1,000 Words. Never seen it. 2016, he's in Mr. Church, which is really bad. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Not good. I didn't like Coming to America. I thought it was pretty boring. It's not a bad movie. It's just pretty boring.
It's very boring.
Does all the same jokes as the first one, just not as good. You People is a really disappointing Netflix comedy. It's fine. It's very much like this movie, Tower Heist. It's fine.
You People is one of the most embarrassing films I've ever seen.
You really didn't like it then?
I really didn't like it. I think that is a film that absolutely wasted the stardom of Eddie Murphy, and I think it's everything wrong with storytelling and also everything wrong with Netflix films.
We're gonna cover it
this will be my last piece. I can't believe they had to CGI a kiss at the end.
Did they just forget to film it? Didn't they forget it? Didn't they forget to do something, or something happened?
If that's why,
I might be wrong. Really I don't know. I think I remember.
I was gonna say it because if that's why, that's hilarious. Because literally the last shot is the both of them leaning in, and instead of actually showing them kissing, it was CGI'd. Like the couple, like Jonah Hill and the female lead were kissing at the end, but it was all CGI.
What about Candy Cane Lane? You a fan of that film?
Never saw it.
Never saw it. It's a Christmas movie from a couple years ago. He was in a film last year called The Pickup, a heist action comedy film. Never saw it. The film was released by Amazon.
Direct to streaming kind of
That's
deal.
my point about this film, Tower Heist. We're doing a lot of talking about stuff other than this film.
Yeah.
Which kind of maybe says a lot about it. This may be a perfectly fine Eddie Murphy performance. It's not an interesting Eddie Murphy performance. Okay, let's go through the rest of the cast. Alan Alda.
Okay.
As our villain.
Legend. I think he did a good job.
Yeah, I really like him as the villain. Like I said, he's perfect for this smug, rich, billionaire asshole type. Bernie Madoff.
He's good at making you not like rich people.
Yes, very much so. I think it's good villain performance because he doesn't turn it into a cartoon character. He plays it pretty straight.
Yeah, he plays it pretty straight when he delivers very smarmy lines or does what you would expect like a person in his situation would do, whether it's, well, let me bribe you more and it'll be fine. It's believable. And I think that's just Alan Alda's just doing really great acting.
Casey Affleck playing the brother of Ben Stiller.
That's weird.
Our Ocean's
really
11
weird.
Veteran, Casey Affleck.
I think really weird. Just the way that the character was written to just turn on the team. What is it, 3/4 through the film?
But he doesn't really turn on them.
But no, he doesn't. And then, by the way, him being turned actually doesn't end up being consequential because they just sideline him.
And he could have been a more interesting character because you understand his motivation for going to work back, going back to work at the tower. He's like, look, I'm about to have a kid. I can't be participating in this $20 million heist. That's a very reasonable stance to take.
Right.
And then he ends up helping them anyway. Spoiler alert.
He does. And
Academy Award winner Casey Affleck.
Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah. He's effing incredible in that movie.
Yeah, that movie's crazy.
Oh, I don't know if this is a hot take. Maybe it's not. I mean, because I know there was controversy when he won. I thought that was a deserved Oscar. He was incredible in that film.
Yeah, that movie is
it's a downer.
Parts incredible and depressing.
It's a downer.
Yeah, it's absolutely a downer.
Yeah. Great movie, but a downer. He's fine here, but yeah, you're right. It could have been better. Taya Leone, who is a very gifted comedic actor. She can be very funny.
But she wasn't doing much.
No, I like her with Stiller. I think that's a nice couple, a nice on-screen couple.
I think that their chemistry was probably more favorable.
Yeah, good scenes together.
Is it a bit of a cliche? Like the girl that he's into is also in the FBI?
Maybe. I mean, it's the Thomas Crown Affair thing a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It was a cliche. I didn't mind. I mean, I like her. Again, but I think with the script and the tone, she doesn't have a ton to do.
Other than like be convenient, like able to conveniently feed him information.
Yeah, she's very sympathetic. Michael Pena, arguably
Wasted.
the biggest missed opportunity after Eddie
Wasted.
Murphy. Yeah, because man, you want to talk comedic brilliance.
So funny.
He is a brilliant comedic actor and a good dramatic actor too. He's an all-around great actor.
And he's really used very like one-dimensionally in this film.
He's kind of like the lovable goofball.
Yeah. But like not even funny. Like just
I mean,
just a
he has a
goofball.
couple lines like the DeVry University online classes stuff that he was talking about is kind of funny. Was this before his breakthrough? Like before he was huge?
Yeah, this was before he was big.
Okay.
Or bigger.
So maybe they didn't realize what they had when they cast him in this role.
Because I remember one of the earlier films I'd seen Michael Pena in was Observe and Report. And I think that was like a late 2000s film.
Yeah, I think that's like 09. It's like 08 or 09. Yeah.
So I remember then thinking to myself, like, oh, this guy's gonna, like, I really want to see this guy in more stuff.
Yeah, now, I mean, he's huge now.
Yeah.
He's pretty good in anything I see him in. Like I said, he's just a great actor. And of course, we didn't know he was good at drama by this point. He was just kind of the comedic relief. Did I completely skip over Matthew Broderick? Oh, I did, because he's so forgettable in this movie.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick
could have been a cardboard cutout.
Kind of a weird role for him.
Yeah, I remember being excited about it at the time because I like him.
Mm-hmm.
He can be such an energetic actor. He is so low energy in this film. Yeah. It's almost like he's on Xanax.
Yeah, I don't know if it's part of it is this kind of role has passed him by in my perception of like the roles he could have taken in 2011, because by 2011 I don't think he was a leading man.
Not at all.
But I don't think by 2011 he was necessarily like a comedic background character. Like I don't think I buy Broderick as that.
No, how much was he working in 2011?
Because I think it was after the Stepford Wives he really slowed down in Hollywood.
Was 04. That was a while before this.
And then I want to say even ever since 2011, he's just taken it's been very small roles.
Yeah. I know he's got a great life with his wife, and they live in the West Village in New York City, and they're probably financially very secure.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, yeah, like you just said, maybe he just doesn't have to work.
He does a lot of theater stuff, which I think is worth pointing out. He's done pretty consistent theater work since this, in London as well. He's a very, very accomplished theater actor. I wanted more from him in this movie. I really was excited to see him in this because I'm like, oh man, he can really talk about someone who can play off Stiller and Murphy really well, and he doesn't really. A couple lines here and there made me chuckle, but it never really comes alive.
Yeah.
And that's our heist crew, right?
Yep.
Those guys, they're joined by Gabirni Sidibe. I thought she was one of the highlights. I thought she was really funny. When she starts hitting on Eddie Murphy, pretty funny.
That's very funny. Yeah, that's a super funny scene. Her character, it's in the heist film. It's like the inside person, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She becomes the safecracker.
Yeah.
It's all in the touch.
I thought she did a really good job, because then before this, of course, audiences get introduced to her through Precious.
Right.
Which, as our good friend of the show, Zion, has called Precious as a horror film, which I have to agree.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. But she does a pretty good job here. You know, nothing I could complain about.
We get Judd Hirsch as the building manager.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. You'd all be dead now if it wasn't for my David. I don't know how he goes from wanting to fire Casey Affleck to just making him the second in command, but hey, whatever.
Didn't really like Ben Stiller's character. That's why it happened.
Apparently not. The prosecutor is a very well-known character actor. Is it Zelkio Avanek?
Mm-hmm.
He's been in like everything. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out: if you've ever seen The Blacklist, back to Alan Alda really quick. He plays James Spader. James Spader for sure, but Alan Alda plays a very similar smug, rich government type character on The Blacklist. Clearly, I should have mentioned this when we were talking about Alan Alda, but just wanted to get that back in. This is a funny one. Not that anybody would recognize him, but Robert Downey Sr. plays the judge who we see in the elevator early on in the film. Just
That's a fun little nod.
Yeah. Okay. This isn't really part of the cast, but we're getting to the end here. I wanted to bring this up because this is just funny. This is a film that we're covering where there are so many things or people attached to this movie and in this movie that have just aged horribly, aged like milk, if you will. Obviously, the director, Brett Ratner. We have a Matt Lauer cameo.
Pretty hilarious.
We have an appearance by Kanye West in the parade.
Right.
It's a lot for this like nothing burger of a movie.
And that's a big deal, getting Kanye.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Heavy D.
Heavy D's in this film, but I'm not done with the age like milk. By the way, Heavy D did not age like milk. This is not. We're not.
Yeah, Heavy D's not on the list.
Heavy D's excluded from this. So those thanked in the section of the credits include Kanye West, Donald Trump, obviously for the building stuff, and Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski was thanked in the credits.
A little awkward.
A little bit.
Oh, primarily due to his friendship with Brett Ratner.
Wow.
That's bad.
Oh, that's right. He was in Rush Hour 2.
Polanski was in Rush Hour 2?
Yes. He has a cameo in Rush Hour 2. You know how it's in Paris?
Scene? Oh, no, that was 3.
That was 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rush Hour 3 was in Paris.
Oh, man. Special thanks to Roman Polanski. That is, yeah, you're right. It was Rush Hour 3. I'm sorry. He's the police commissioner.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
We should have known about Brett Ratner then, man. We could have used the Judd Hirsch quote from Independence Day. You knew then and you did nothing. You had them all locked up in a bunker. Roman Polanski, he fled the States after that thing with the girl in the house that belonged to Jack Nicholson. You know that was Nicholson's house, right? You're like, I know. I try not to think about it.
That's gross.
Horrible. Well, that's the end of the notes. I don't know how you can top that.
No.
You want to rate this film and get out of here?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to say my rating first. This is the most classically C movie ever. It's fine. It's not bad in any way. There's nothing in this movie that's bad. Everything is competent, including the performances. But it does take a good premise and a great cast, and it does nothing interesting or remotely special with them. It doesn't screw anything up, which is why I can't even call it a bad movie. It just exists in the middle of the road of mediocrity. It is so bland and so generic that I almost wish it were worse because I think there'd be more to talk about. I would watch this again if it were on. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. Tower Heist it's a very average movie that really should have been good based on who made it and who was in it and the premise. It's a C.
Okay. I stand by my original statement. This is a filler film. I think filler films have their place. Sometimes they're there just to have you enjoy some wholesome moments of television, whether it's an easy to watch Lifetime original movie or any of those fun Hallmark films that come out during Christmas time, or just an easy, non-threatening heist film starring Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy. It's funny at times. It doesn't tug at my heartstrings, but I'm sure it tugs at some people's heartstrings. But it's no extremes on either side. It's like you said, I think it's just really cut and dry, a very average film. I give this one a C. Like, I'm sure like this is a good film to show during a long flight, or if you're at a relative's house for the holidays and it's the only film they have on the DVD display.
Right. And by the way, not all C's are created equal. Like this being a C is not the same to me as Children of the Corn being a C.
Oh,
even though
that's a good point.
We gave both films the same exact rating. This should have been like a B on paper. Right? You're expecting a good movie from this. Children of the Corn, I don't know what you were expecting, but it's okay. Even though it's bad, it's okay. But this is like, It's okay. It just should have been better.
Yep, I agree with that.
That's why we're covering it on why wasn't it better. But that's it for Tower Heist. I don't want to talk about this film anymore.
All right, well, that's it. That's it.
Yep, that's it for this episode of Why Wasn't It Better. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.